Well, if you are a Texas resident trying to apply for medical school, then this is an important video for you, since TMDSAS is the application service that you will use to apply to Texas schools. If you aren't a Texas resident, this video won't even apply to you because you will just use AMCAS to apply to Texas schools. We'll be going through the Texas Medical and Dental School Application Service, or TMDSAS, similar to how I went through the AMCAS application in my last video. Luckily, since I am a Texas resident, I will be able to show you my actual application here as well, so as we go through it, you will be seeing sections from my actual application that you can reference as an example if you need one. So just a quick overview of the TMDSAS. This is for Texas residents that are applying to Texas schools only. The only two exceptions are if you are a Texas resident applying to either TCU's MD program or UNT-HSC's DO program. You will have to apply through TMDSAS for every other Texas school, and there is a caveat that Texas residents should know. Because Texas is such a large state with so many medical schools, it has its own application service for its residents. This also means that Texas schools will prioritize Texas residents that apply through TMDSAS. On average, Texas medical schools will admit somewhere between 80 to 90% of an incoming class from Texas residents that apply through TMDSAS. However, this also means you might have a disadvantage applying to out-of-state schools through AMCAS. Those schools will see that you are a Texas resident with a huge advantage applying to Texas schools, so they will give priority to other students that aren't Texas residents, since applicants from other states don't have an advantage like that. So just keep in mind that if you are watching this video as a Texas resident, you may want to prioritize your efforts within Texas. The first link here will take you to the TMDSAS application page, where you will see a place to access your application after logging in. The second link is an in-depth 2.5-hour video that goes through each part of the TMDSAS application in case you want the most detail possible. For those of you that don't want to watch an almost 3.5-hour video, I'll be going through each section of the application and explaining how it works in this video in much shorter time. The sections of the TMDSAS are similar but slightly different to AMCAS. The information that you will be putting in is pretty much the same, but the application is just formatted differently. As I show you the report of my own application, the sections may show up in a different order than listed here, but this is the order you will see when you are actually filling out your application online. So up first, we have the part that you select which Texas schools to apply to. If you've watched the video about the costs of everything under the financial section, then you know that TMDSAS is unique in that there is only a one-time flat fee regardless of how many schools you apply to. That means the cost of applying to one Texas school is the same as applying to 10. So if you are willing to put in the work on the secondary applications, I would absolutely recommend you apply to every Texas school just automatically. Then, if you get a secondary application that you don't really want to complete, you don't have to. This strategy just allows you to cast the widest net possible. You will also have to state whether or not you plan to use the AMCAS system for other schools. Then we have the educational section, which is pretty similar to how the AMCAS section worked, with one exception. You will have to go dig up your SAT or ACT scores because it will ask you for those under the high school section. If you are wondering why there are two colleges listed here, it's because I transferred out of WashU to attend SMU. If you also transferred colleges, just say you didn't receive a degree or major at the first school like I have done here. Finally, make sure to release the information to health advisors at your college. Texas college health advisors like to receive this information, and there is a good chance that they will only be able to write you a letter of recommendation if you release this information to them. So make sure you select yes for this. Another difference from AMCAS is that the TMDSAS will ask you to put information on 5 significant people that are close to you in your life. To protect their privacy and information, I won't show you that part of my application. But here are the things that the application service will ask about each of the people you put. This section isn't too important to your overall application, it just gives the reviewers a sense of who you surround yourself with. You won't be able to list a sibling or parent in this section. Okay, so now we get to the essays you will have to write for TMDSAS. Similar to the AMCAS video, I am leaving out the personal statement because that will be its own video, but TMDSAS will actually ask for more than just that. There is a personal characteristics essay that is limited to 2,500 characters, including spaces. You can see the exact question they will ask right here, as well as the essay that I wrote for it. Feel free to dissect my essay for themes, writing styles, or areas you think you could do better than me, since I promise you I'm not the best writer. But make sure to talk about some unique experience that sets you apart from others in this section. This is really where the school wants to see what experiences you've had that makes you unique. The application will also ask you for an optional essay, which basically means you should do it since anything optional is pretty much required at this point. Here's the optional prompt, which is also limited to 2,500 characters. This is the chance for you to tell a story that your application doesn't have the chance to reflect. Anything that comes to mind you want to write about that you don't get the chance to do in other parts of the application, you should absolutely write here. The same theme applies to this essay though. You want to make yourself stand out and seem unique. Finally, if you plan on applying to a dual program, there will be extra essays for you specifically. And here are the prompts with the 5,000 character limits. Since I didn't do this part, I don't have an example essay to show you, so the best I can do to prepare you is just to show you the prompts so that you can start to think about what to write. Next, you will have to put in all of your activities. If you watched the AMCAS video, you will remember that there is a limit of 15 activities on that application, but on TMDSAS there is no limit. You can put as many activities as you want, and here are a few examples of mine. You can see what things they will ask you for each of these activities, as well as examples of descriptions that I wrote for them. The specific categories of activities that you can put are less broad than the AMCAS application, and the character limit is only 300 for these descriptions. If you are curious about how double dipping works on this application, here are the rules for TMDSAS. In general, you can only list an activity once in a given section, but there are a few exceptions where you can list the same activity in multiple categories. However, the important thing to know is that if you do list them multiple times, you must change the description relative to the section you put the activity in. If you had a healthcare job, describe the employment aspect in the employment section and the healthcare aspect in the healthcare section. Once you finish putting in all of your activities, you will have to rank the top 3 activities in your own mind and write brief explanations as to why you rate them so high. Try to diversify these choices and don't pick 3 things all from the same category, that way you seem like a more diverse applicant. You will also have the chance to put planned activities or things that you have started at the time of applying but haven't finished yet. This gives you the chance to tell TMDSAS what activities you are committed to completing before attending medical school. This could be helpful if you need more hours in a given activity or just need an additional activity altogether. Then finally, the last part is where you have to manually enter in all of your grades and classes. You will need to specify the term that you took the class in, as well as the year. So if you look at the far left column, SP means spring, F means fall, SU and S1 refer to summer semesters, and W means winter, but you will see those options written out. This section can be kind of time-consuming and tedious, but if you have an unofficial transcript pulled up, it's fairly easy to just copy over the information. Once you finish that, all you have left is to get your letters of recommendation sent into TMDSAS, which I go over in the video on letters of recommendation, so I won't show that here. I also didn't go over the MCAT scores, but if you go look at the MCAT videos, I explain how to specifically send your MCAT score to TMDSAS. Then, after paying and submitting, you have completed your TMDSAS application and can just wait for the secondary applications.